Ever since the start of his NBA career, JaVale McGee has been at the center of the media and the fans' attention, mostly however for the wrong reasons, as early on, people read into his game simply because of intrigue. The freakish athleticism he possessed was unparalleled in the league for someone with his size, 7 feet tall with a 7'6" wingspan. As time went on though, original believers in their extremely high expectations began to doubt he could ever put it all together and reach that full potential. Perhaps because of this pressure, McGee would play above himself, trying to do too much like handle the ball in transition or chase down every single shot for a block. This led to a number of bloopers and people started poking fun at the young big man. Finally, the basketball world is starting to take notice for the right reasons. McGee has been an integral piece of the bench unit and the entire Warriors squad this year, perhaps even their most important player, with the unique skill set and abilities he brings to a team that has a lot of star power at the other 4 positions, but no real player that could fill the void that he fills. Coming into this season, JaVale McGee was universally thought of as nothing more than a joke, labeled as a low IQ player who was only in the NBA because of his physical tools. The very mention of his name in and of itself had a negative connotation to it. His reputation had been diminished by the likes of Shaq clowning on him on national TV. It got to a point where even the Warriors, who were entering the season with a shallow center rotation and a desperate need for athletic bigs who could block shots and finish above the rim, even they were hesitant to bring McGee in, only offering him a training camp invite and the chance to prove his worth. A fire had lit up under JaVale after a disappointing stay in Dallas, and he spent an entire motivated offseason of hard work and preparation for a return to basketball, but uncertainty began to settle in as time continued to pass with not a single team calling to offer a guaranteed contract. McGee described his thoughts during this difficult time in his career, saying, "I'd be thinking, is this my last run? Am I never gonna play basketball again? I just kept with it. I don't know nothing else." When he finally got that non-guaranteed camp invite from Golden State, at that point, JaVale was simply playing for a job, just like any of the undrafted rookies and D-League players were. The only reason he had gotten the opportunity to begin with was probably due to the endorsement of ex-teammate Andre Iguodala, who lobbied within the organization for JaVale to be signed. Andre commented that he's always been a big fan of JaVale's, that it's always just been about getting the right people around him. This has been proven to be true this season. The coaching staff and management were thoroughly impressed with McGee from the start. Kerr stated that 3 days in, they already knew that they were going to keep him. Today, McGee is the Warriors' paint enforcer and truly the team's X factor. We've been witnessing his growth all season long as he worked alongside specifically Ron Adams to learn the Warriors' defensive schemes and improve upon his own defensive tendencies so that he could lower the number of fouls he commits and pick and choose when it's a good time to go for a block and when he should just go straight up and try to change the shots rather than swat it away. The two also spent a great deal of time on pick and roll defense alongside Jarron Collins, and it's really shown in his game. Day to day, game by game, since preseason, you could see JaVale growing more and more comfortable in his role, playing in short spurts off of the bench. He's learned to play under control and not spread himself out too thin. He's learned to defend the rim much more effectively and even how to bother the ball handler in pick and roll situations sometimes. The Warriors this season, with McGee on the floor, have scored 121.4 points and held defenses to 102.7 per 100 possessions. The offensive efficiency was greater by 8.2 points than the entire team's season average. With a net differential of 18.7, there was no single player on the Warriors that had a bigger impact on the team when on the floor than JaVale McGee. He even had the best per minute plus minus, not just on the Warriors, but in the entire league. JaVale also finished 12th in dunks with 121 on the season, despite only playing 739 minutes. Every player of the other top 11 were starters, most of whom had played 3 times the amount of minutes per game as McGee. But we all know about his dunking ability. We've seen him dunk 3 balls at once in a dunk contest. Even more impressive, however, was the fact that he finished 2nd in offensive rebounding rate for all NBA players. There were a ton of Warriors fans advocating for him to take over the starting role, or at least gain some more minutes since he was only playing 9.5 per game. I'll touch on that more later, but on the other side of the spectrum, there were still some that believed he should get even less run in the playoffs. Reputations are hard to shake, and this created doubters who didn't think that he could be counted on in meaningful minutes competing for a championship. But JaVale once again proved them wrong, having an even greater impact in the first round of the playoffs than he did in the regular season, going up against an ideal foe for his style of play in the Portland Trailblazers. Now brace yourselves for a very long list of achievements by this man in only 12.3 minutes a game against the Blazers. In games 1 and 2, Portland shot a measly 30% at the rim while McGee was patrolling the paint. In game 2, JaVale gave Golden State one of the single most efficient performances in all of playoff history, recording 15 points with perfect shooting, going 7 for 7 and adding 5 rebounds, 4 blocks, and a steal in only 13 minutes on the floor. Since minute totals started being tracked in 1983, only 20 players have had 15, 5, and 4 off of the bench in a playoff game, and only 4 of the 20 played less than 15 minutes. McGee had the biggest contribution of them all, with only legendary player Arvydas Sabonis having a comparable field goal percentage. After the game, even Damian Lillard acknowledged that the Blazers have to find a way to stop McGee in order to win the series. Dame said, quote, "We can't allow JaVale McGee to come in and impact the game the way he has. We've got to try to limit that if we want a chance to win games." In games 1 through 3, the Warriors were down 4 points in the 105 overall minutes McGee didn't play in. In the 39 minutes that he was on the court, they were leading by a total of 51 points. More so, for the entire series, JaVale's net rating of 42.2 was actually better than any other player in the 2017 playoffs so far. McGee played just 49 total minutes in the first round, yet he was able to contribute 39 points, missing only 5 of his 23 shots and 9 blocks. He's tied for first with Rudy Gobert in points off of cuts per game in the playoffs, and McGee is shooting 85% compared to 75% for Gobert. This all should give you more than a glimpse into the ability JaVale has to enter the game and immediately change it. The main reason for this is that Golden State has so many offensive threats, especially shooters, and McGee gives them a new kind of spacing that Kerr refers to as vertical spacing. When he's rolling to the basket, the defense is forced to either allow him position to catch a lob or leave one of Durant, Steph, and Clay with more room than they'd like to at the three-point line. This is why the Warriors are so much more explosive when he's in the lineup. He's redefined what's known as the death lineup, which always used to be nicknamed small ball death squad because it was with no true center and Iguodala instead. This season, however, the lineup of Curry, Clay, KD, Draymond, and McGee has been the best lineup in the NBA by a huge margin. In the 126 minutes played together, they've outscored teams by a total of 96 points. So what else does McGee really bring to the table that took him from league outcast to a major piece of the best team in the NBA's puzzle? He's able to play in the Warriors' fast pace and run the floor in transition and finish above the rim, or attract enough gravity to get a shooter open for 3. Every time he's on the floor, he's a highlight play waiting to happen, usually throwing down an emphatic lob or rejecting a shot out of bounds in the first minute after entering the game. This gets the crowd involved as well as his teammates riled up. The way he just exudes pure energy, it's contagious, normally sparking a run by the Warriors. Now, after seeing all the ways he makes his team better, you might agree with those who wanted him moved into the starting lineup above Zaza. It's hard not to at least consider this option, especially since he's already started a few games in Zaza's absence and the Warriors didn't miss a step. But there are many reasons his role is best off of the bench in my opinion. Firstly, asthma. It's debatable how much this has really affected his stamina, but JaVale does have some degree of athletically induced asthma. Kerr believes it's best to play him in short stints about 5 minutes long in a spark plug role. Iguodala said he understands he's going to play in spurts. He wants to be impactful in those spurts, so he's really embraced that. The coaches are giving him a little more each and every time he goes out there. George Karl, who coached him and Iguodala on the Nuggets, echoed the Warriors' coaching ideology when he had to decide how he was going to use McGee, saying the speed of the game bothered him. He was constantly using the inhaler, so he played him in shorter bursts. His time spent in Denver was the second most effective he's been in his entire career, so it makes sense to use him in the same way now. Especially with a guy like him, it's important to keep his mindset on playing within his comfort zone, and this method's surely been more than successful thus far. Also, although Za has much less flash to his game, his smart defense, toughness, screening, passing, and overall IQ is all better than JaVale's. He's more of a dependable starter, while McGee is the role player with the ability to be a game changer. Not to mention the promise of a starting spot that was given to Pachulia when he agreed to come to the Warriors at an incredible discount. McGee said himself that he's happy with the minutes he's getting, that he's efficient as possible even with less consistent playing time, and that they're winning the way the system is set up right now. In previous years, McGee had been playing at less than full health. In his own words, he said, "I was injured for 2 years, so it seemed that way, that everything I did was bad. Now coach puts me in the right situations. With Zaza, West, and me, it's hard to match up. We're all three different players. We're like one all-around center, using all the minutes up." He said he cringed when watching Nurkic try to play through a similar injury in Game 3 and was reminded of his own struggles with it, how he tried to lose weight so that he could play on it easier. He even went vegan for a month last year. Now he says in the Bay Area it's very easy for him and he's eating vegan once again. This helps him power through his asthma and past injury issues when running up and down the court. JaVale is going to be a free agent after the season, and he's performed so well that he actually may have played his way off of the Warriors, who will have very little financial flexibility this offseason. His presence will be sorely missed if the Warriors are unable to bring him back. It makes a lot of sense for him as well, as this is the perfect situation for him in every way except in terms of money. He said he'd love to be back. When asked about it, he responded, "Hell yeah, but this is the NBA, so anything can happen. Really, anything. It's crazy." I want you guys to leave your predictions on if you think he'll resign in the comment section down below, and also let me know who you'd prioritize bringing back if you were Bob Myers, Iguodala, or JaVale. Both bring so much to the team, but Andre is going to be on the downslope of his career pretty soon at his age, and the talents that he brings are already prominent on the Warriors roster, while JaVale brings a whole new dynamic that we don't have at all. If they're not able to re-sign him, they better hope they can find someone who can contribute at least half as much, or that Damian Jones's growth rapidly progresses over the offseason. As always guys, thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed, share, subscribe if you're new for a ton of great content coming soon, and turn on notifications so that you won't miss a video. Clay Allen on the mic, signing off. Peace.
One against JaVale McGee. And technical fouls on both McGee and Jang.
That's amazing, bro. That's hilarious, dog. I'm keeping this. That's incredible. We got one for everybody. Really? You bet. Here you go, my G. Hey, for the whole squad? You best buck. One, G. Terrible fit. Look at the socks. Look at this. Look at this man. What is that? What is this?